In today's video we will see Superman, Man of Tomorrow, in which we see that Superman is still a child and he comes to his friend's house to watch a movie and he is very scared and starts crying when he sees an alien in the movie. Then his father comes to get him. The next day, Superman is trying to break a solid figure, but gets angry and throws it away, but instead of falling, it stands up in the air and glows. Then with the passage of time, Superman also starts to become evil. Now he works in an office. Then we see that Lex Luthor is about to launch his rocket, but then Lois comes and takes his entire pool. Reveals that she has cheated with the government, then her rocket returns to Metro City, but Superman comes and leaves her back in space, then she realizes for the first time in her life that the sun he gets the power. Then we see Lex Luthor being arrested by the police, and in all of this an unknown man is constantly watching over Superman. More on that later. Next we see a villain named Lobo coming to Metro City to capture Superman. But Lobo kills and injures Superman with his kryptonite ring. Because kryptonite is Superman's weakness. Suddenly an alien comes and confuses Lobo. Then Superman goes into space and takes all the energy from the sun. He regains his strength and comes to the ground to beat Lobo and get him arrested. Meanwhile, a security guard is injured by one of Lobo's gadgets and is being treated at the hospital. Now, slowly, Superman starts to come into everyone's eyes and people start to consider him as their hero. Then we see that as soon as Superman reaches home with his parents, an unknown man stands in front of him, who is even before. Here we find out that this is the same alien that came between Lobo and Superman. Explains how he came here from another planet, he tells him who his real parents were and leaves. Then we see Superman's mother give him a costume and she tells him that this is the cloth she met him in when he was a child. And it is a very strong cloth. Next we see Lois interviewing Lobo, but he irritates her a lot, but then Rude comes. Will goes to attack Lobo, two security guards come and attack him, but he catches them. In reality, Rudy has come to take revenge on Lobo. He breaks Lobo's tube which drains all of his energy into him and Lobo runs away. Then Superman and Marshall arrive but Rude is not under their control. And begins to take all of Superman's energy, which makes Superman quite weak and he also burns Rudy and Marshall to death. He goes straight to Lex Luthor in prison and asks him to take him to some dark space so that he can get all his energy. Rody comes to his house but his daughter gets scared seeing him so he runs away. Then Lex Luthor is released from prison for a day and goes to the lab with Superman where Lobo, who is Lex's apprentice, gives Lex the kryptonite because the last time Rody gave Superman K's power was absorbed in himself, so it is obvious that he also absorbed Superman's weakness. Then they think that maybe kryptonite also affects him. We then see Rody heading towards the city. Superman comes and stops him but his power is running low in front of him. Then Lobo attacks him but it has no effect. Then Lobo himself blaster in the bomb but it kills him but nothing happens to Rody. Then Lex finds the kryptonite ball, he puts it in a special gun and attacks Rody, which has a lot of effect on him but Lex is a bad person, that's why he attacks Superman too, but Marshall Hunter comes and stops him, he doesn't actually die, it's just a trick of his. Then we see Rody get up and start walking towards the people but Superman comes up and says I know you're Roddy and you're not a brown person we've met before. Then suddenly Lex the reactor that was in the lab starts to explode, which threatens the lives of many people. Superman goes to save it, but because of the lack of power, he can't do it. But there comes Rudy. He sacrifices his own life to save people from the destruction of the reactor, which proves that he was not the wrong person. Then we see that Lobo also comes because he was not dead and all is well. After doing that, they all go about their work and Superman also returns to his office as Clark and this is where our story ends.